Warning for all of you. This video is going to be not a so happy review of something very wonderful. This is a very dark and depressing story as it deals with depression, self harm, uh, I think also suicide, if you don't quote me on that. And also it deals with rape, blood, gore, and violence. If this is not your cup of tea, or if you are too young to watch this video, then please click off the video here or go somewhere else. Please. I'm not trying to be an ass, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to tell you straight out, like, if you are squeamish to the type of stuff, even though that this entire comic book is done in black and white, please click off the video, go and watch something else, or you can come back whenever that you feel like. But I'm serious right now that it is for that this does deal a lot with the terms of suicide. So if you're not comfortable with that, click off the video now. Well, you've been warned. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Just a warning, like I said, about depression, about dealing things with depression, self-harm, suicide, and the possibility of rape, or the implication of rape, I mean. So, um, click off the video if you are not comfortable with this. But, with all said and done, please enjoy the following Lazy Universe review. Enjoy. Greetings, kids and nerds, I'm Lazy Universe and I'm White Nerdy. And, after a long time of basically ignoring Hollywood ever remaking The Crow, they're going to start doing so. And they're gonna do it in the weirdest of ways. They're gonna do it with Bill Skarsgard, a talented actor in the horror community nonetheless, but him taking on the spirit of vengeance superhero seems a little far fetched. But with the Crow movie coming out on August 25th, even though the critics are calling it unwashable and ridiculous and just downright stupid, I come to realize that not always are the critics right, because the critics are calling Deadpool and Wolverine one of the worst movies of the year. Excuse-moi. Like I said before, and I done a video on this where I talked about film criticism getting worse. It seemed like it really going that far, but I'm actually kind of happy to see it. You can go and watch the trailer. I think it looks pretty good, decently. And it doesn't seem like they're doing the Eric Draven origin, because they show the origin in the trailer, and it's a lot different than the comic books. But anyways, with that said and done, it's no wonder why in my life that one of my top five favorite movies of all time is not at number five. It's in the top five of my favorite movies ever made. It's Brandon Lee's The Crow. The Crow is a dark, gothic, and really depressing origin story, or just a superhero story all in detail, and I'm surprised that it was one that got made. On Hallows Eve, or Devil's Night, we find out that Eric Draven and Shelley Webster were unfortunately killed in their apartment building, and thus both of them died pretty quickly. That is until Eric is resurrected and becomes the superhero Angel of Vengeance, known only as the Crow, seeking vengeance on those who killed him and his beloved wife, Shelley. But you cannot talk about the Crow without talking the main factor of what made the Crow, Brandon Lee's awesome and astounding performance throughout the film and throughout the entire movie. Now, I could review the movie, but I'm gonna wait on that, maybe for like its anniversary or something. I will actually officially review this movie in more better detail. But that's not what I'm here to do. Also, you cannot talk about The Crow and the great Brandon Lee without talking about the incident that happened. The, on the set, there was a prop gun that they had used. It was during, I believe, one of the final scenes that they were shooting of the movie. Which one? I have no idea. It could have been the final scene, truthfully, but again, I have no idea. And unfortunately, the blank that was fired was shot into Brandon Lee, unfortunately killing the young actor at only the young age of, I think, 32. It was traumatic. A lot of people, especially probably his own mother and sister, were very traumatized by the event that happened. As with Bruce Lee himself, Brandon unfortunately suffered the same fate. So, why am I bringing this up? Because while Bill Skarsgard is making the remake of it, I'm hoping that they don't crap or shit on Brendan Lee's legacy. As this film was the last film that he ever made, and even the comic book is based is in memory of him. That yeah, and I'm also gonna honor this video in memory of him too. But I'm not here to talk about this amazing movie. I could, but because I have so much to talk about with it and what it means to me personally, I already did review it a long time ago. I'll pin it in the comment down below where you can find it. But yeah, this movie is still pretty damn awesome. But we're not going to talk about the movie. I'm instead going to talk about the graphic novel, which is an indie book. And yeah, I have to say that it is an indie book because, as it says on the back by Steve Niles, the author of 30 Days of Night, James O'Barr and the Crow paved the way for many of us in comics. Without the Crow, I'm convinced that independent comics would be a barren wasteland. And pretty much he's right. The Crow is technically an indie book, and it is one of the most expensive indie books ever read. By the time that I bought this one for my birthday a couple years back, I believe I only paid like $10 for this, which was a steal compared to originally when it was over $100 or $100 for this. But I'm going to be skipping over a lot of parts in this comic book, but mostly I'm going to be comparing and contrasting the movie. I feel like I'm stealing Dominic Noble's job here. Well, anyways, let's go see what the Angel of Vengeance is up to. So let's check out James O'Barr, The Crow. While this cover doesn't have anything special going on, it's very iconic. The shot of Eric Draven holding a rose looking at the reader almost seems like a sort of CD title, which makes sense because James O'Barr is very obsessed with music, so making basically a reference to a CD cover is pretty iconic. We begin our comic and we're out but an alleyway. Make me puke. These folks, they can't feed their kids, but they got Toshiba. Now Jones transfer got Toshiba. Yes, sir, I be in rock big time.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
As he ends up seeing Eric Draven popping right out of nowhere after that strange line of dialogue. Do I have your attention, Mr. Jones? Attention? Man, you scared the crap out of me, damn! You just coughed me $100, pal. You better cough up some cash. And Eric Draven takes out the switch to him as he takes out a switchblade. As he lists off the names of people he wants vengeance on. Tom Tom, Top Dollar, Funboy, Tintin. And he stabs Eric Draven, whose reaction to this is taking a knife out and licking his own blood. In the movie, it's different because in the movie, Eric goes after Tintin first and kills him as he's the first victim on Eric's hit list of people that he wants to kill. Anyways, we cut to a dream sequence or something where Eric is on a train, riding somewhere, I suppose, and he's going to a destination where he runs into a horse. And then he sees the horse accidentally kill itself by running into some barbed wire. As Eric looks on horrified and is greeted by a Grim Reaper. I don't know why there is an implication of a horse running into barbed wire and killing itself, and why Eric Draven is looking at a Grim Reaper, but this is a comic that is happening. Just wanted to point it out. And just like in the movie, Eric's first victim is, yes, Tintin. What does Mr. Jones have to do with anything? I have no idea. But Tintin doesn't use knives like he did in the movie. He tries to use a gun and shoot Eric, but nothing happens, as Eric breaks his arm and takes his gun away from her. Who are you? And gives thanks to the Lord God who had called you to his kingdom. Man, I don't even know you! A year ago, a cold October night, a car broken down on a dirt road. A man, a girl, madness, pain, and shadows. My God, the shadows! Eric honestly couldn't believe himself that his shadow puppets were not on par with the killer clowns from outer space. Truly, Eric was ripped off of such a wonderful and great talent there. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Eric was instead talking about death. In the comic, but not really in the movie, as far as I know, Eric has a psychic connection with the Crow, so think of Falcon from the Marvel Universe, but just kind of different. And he told Eric not to look. This will come important later, but let's just skip it for right now, as he ends up basically killing Tintin by shooting him in the head. Okay. After that little incident, we move over to Top Dollar's gang. Yes, Top Dollar. He was in the movie, in case some people don't believe me. In the movie, he was a cold, calculated, hard bastard who mostly cared about vengeance and not as well as anything else, as he also cared for his sister, supposedly. However, here, he's fucking crazy, that I can tell you, as he told the gang what they're going to be doing, basically taking over the town on Halloween Eve. Outside of the window sits Eric Draven, who they try to shoot at, but he comes in and basically kicks their asses anyways. There is a similar shot of this towards the end of the movie, but it's different than of how it happens here and how it happens at the end of the movie. And the reason why I say that is very clear, as Eric's just on the table, talking with Top Dollar about what he had done and the chemicals that he's making, possibly drugs, I don't know, talking about how he murdered himself and Shelley, and shoots him blank right in the head. This is important, so just remember this. Eric, however, does fight Top Dollar, but he doesn't fight him until the end of the movie, and there was an epic sword fight on top of a church, which is very impressively fucking awesome. By the way, this comic has a lot of nice flashback scenes, but I can't show all of them. But I will show a couple of my favorites, like this one. Eric and Shelley are just talking to each other, as she wants to basically dance, 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 dance. And the two begin to dance, 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 dance. Come on, everybody, let's just dance, 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 dance. For those of you that got that song stuck in your head now, you're welcome. This is beautifully done how James O'Barr does this type of thing, switching from a more comic booky sort of art style to an art style that basically looks like Alex Ross, which is not a complaint, that's a compliment, and it's a nice touch. However, we get back over to the alleyway as two goons are causing trouble and nothing but mayhem to an innocent person, possibly stealing money from him. If he doesn't hand it over, they'll cut him. And of course, Eric stumbles upon this and cuts one of the guy's heads clean straight off. That it took a while for his friend to realize that he was dead, as Eric goes after him with a samurai sword, a katana, making the guy basically freak right the fuck out, trying to shoot at Eric, but he can't shoot nothing, as Eric slices off his feet, because, anyways, he cuts off the guy's feet and interrogates the both of them about what happened that late October night when they were going to, go possibly get married for himself and Shelley until, this happened. As he tells them about where they got all their stuff from, Gideon. As Gideon is, yes, a character in both the comic and as well as the movie. But the comic and movie are very different. Let's focus on the comic first. He goes to Gideon, he knocks on the door, and he says the infamous line, "Hey, piss off, can't you see them clothes?" But he doesn't call him an idiot or a dirtbag, as Eric just breaks himself right in and and demands him about where his wedding ring is. As of course, similar to the movie, he slaps him and then stabs a knife into his hand, while he looks through a box of wherever that his ring will be. But differently than the movie, he finds his ring, he threatens to kill him, very similar to the movie, but Eric kills him by shooting him a bunch of times. But in the movie, Eric doesn't shoot Gideon. He interrogates him, he threatens him, but he doesn't actually shoot him. Instead, he lights his business on fire.
Is that gasoline I smell? No, man. No!
I know that sometimes the movie don't have to follow the comic script by script or page by page, but it really doesn't make any sense for him to kill Gideon, as Gideon is basically innocent. The only thing that he did was sell his wedding ring to Shelley because he was giving it to Tintin, as he's an underground dealer that mostly works with criminals, such as the Top Dollar Gang. But it makes no sense why he just straight up killed Gideon. He's innocent and doesn't really make any lick of sense to why Eric would kill him otherwise that he's the spirit of vengeance and nothing will stop him from getting to his goal of basically, in a sense, saving his own girlfriend. Which is something that bothers me with the film community or movie lovers community, is that they consider The Crow a horror movie. But I consider it a superhero movie since it's more about a guy getting vengeance about what happened not just to himself, but to the woman that he loved. So, yeah, I mean, it makes less sense to me that people consider it a horror movie, but I'm more the guy that considers it a superhero film because, well, that's what I think and mostly believe that it is. As after Eric kills Gideon, he runs into an old friend of his, Officer Albrecht. Now, in the comics, Officer Albrecht is a white man that does not know Eric in any face of regard. Eric calls out that he's getting divorced, he confirms it, and the two basically have a chit chat back and forth as he knows that Eric isn't going to do anything bad. But yeah, he's mostly the comic relief character in the comic book more so than anything else. In the movie, Officer Albrecht is played by the great and late Ernie Hudson, who actually basically does a great job at bringing Officer Albrecht to life, and he's one of my favorite side characters in the film. He's a cop that's just trying to do the right thing, but while doing the right thing, he always ends up getting yelled at for it and basically accused that everything is always his fault and the officer should take his badge. And even Officer Albrecht ends up helping out Eric later on in the movie, and he's the only one that deduces his identity because he's not stupid. He puts it together pretty quickly in the film. As very similar to the movie, Eric gets his revenge after revenge after revenge after revenge of every single criminal that took himself down in Shelley. As through midway in this comic, we finally get Eric and Shelley's origin, as they were out just celebrating for the day, a day at the beach from what it looks like, and the two were ready to go back home, as they run into some car trouble with their engine or motor breaking down, as they run into basically T-Bird and the gang. T-Bird and the gang just want Shelley, for obvious reasons, that they do want to rape her, and they basically do that, even though we don't see nothing. It's heavily implied, as Eric tried to talk him down, basically trying to tell them, like, this shouldn't be the right thing, you should let us go, or you should try to help us, and they shoot Eric blankly in the head. But it doesn't kill him, surprisingly, just leaves him unconscious or in a state of paralysis, never really explained, as T-Bird basically shoots Eric again, this time actually killing him. Well, not really, because Eric is watching them gang rape Shelley, as its black tear rolled down his face, iconic to his makeup. And as we also see in the comic that Eric is hanging on to dear life. He's been fighting it for so long, as he actually tells one of the officers, named Captain Hook, not in the movie, but that he had seen a crow, and Eric basically passes it on to the underworld, or, if you prefer, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, the spirit realm. However, the movie tells a completely different origin for Eric and Shelley, as their home was broken into after trying to basically save their home by filling out a form so that way that they can save their home. Eric and Shelley are both killed. It is also heavily implied that in the movie, similar to the comic, Shelley was gang raped by the entire Top Dollar gang as Eric looked on and watched before he died. And this is what I meant about depression, as Eric is basically down and out for the majority of the movie. He keeps thinking about Shelley, and as you can see, he's cut into his arm with a razor blade, so that doesn't actually make anything better for him, it just makes him even more depressed. As Eric decides enough is enough, as he's going after the gang. In the comic, he leaves one of the gang members alive, Fun Boy, but in the movie, he actually killed Fun Boy with a drug overdose. So the hell if I know, he keeps him alive before he lets him OD, so I guess that's kind of similar. As Eric decides, fuck this, I'm going after the entire gang, which he actually ends up doing so, going up against the entire Top Dollar gang, after killing Top Dollar and everything, and basically wants them to pretty much kill him, as he had given up, as he had nothing else to live for by this point, so they may as well just straight up end up killing him, leading into an epic fight that actually ends up happening for the last majority of the film. That it's just one great big fight scene. This scene is basically, yes, in the Crow movie, but it doesn't happen until later on in the film, so basically, yeah, it's a great example of the scene done right. As we move on into a final finale of the story, or just finale in general, Eric talks to the Crow, because again, he has a psychic link with it, and they both just talk. Having the horse that was killed in Eric's dream, or dream sequence, basically show up. The horse is basically, I suppose, a symbol of death and everything that Eric has done as it is a spirit of vengeance that can't be killed until Eric himself puts it down. Basically, he killed his own demon. He sacrificed everything just to come back, and once he killed the horse, that's it. His spirit of vengeance is now satisfied. As Eric joins the Grim Reaper upon his train. As the book officially ends with Eric going back to the grave to basically be reunited with his true love Shelley one more time. And as always, children, remember, people die, buildings burn, but true love lives on forever. This comic is great, and I shouldn't have to say so. It is wonderful. While it might not be for everybody because it mostly deals with depression, dark material, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, body harm, and the ideal of gang rape, The Crow isn't for everybody, but it still holds up to this day as a great story. Sure, the movie is more superior, especially at having a great cult following, probably due to the late and great Brandon Lee, but I do have to say that the Crow comic book is still really good. If you can find it, I recommend that you pick it up. It's a great independent comic that basically made it big when nobody expected it to, and it's a long running series, as each individual Crow is a different one. It's not just Eric, there's always a different one taking on the legacy. So think of the Crow sort of like Robin, or, well, yeah, mostly for a better example, think of Robin from the DC Universe, how many people held a role. Or for fellow Whovians out there, consider him like Doctor Who, that is a different incarnation to the character for various years. I don't know if The Crow is still an ongoing series or not, but I think it officially ended in the late 2000s, which goes to show you how long this legendary legacy had lasted. So please pick up The Crow if you can. And also, yes, see the Brandon Lee movie before you see the Bill Skarsgard movie. As I probably might see the Bill Skarsgard movie if I get invited, and if I do, I'll probably do like a vlog review, a non-spoiler one for you guys. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe Universe, I believe Nerdy, keep looking on. Please check out The Crow in the comment section. Please check out The Crow where you can get it, Amazon, eBay, even read it on like Kindle. Is Kindle still a thing? Comixology maybe, if it's on there. But please, please, please check the book out. Now, again, yeah, it's not for everybody, but it does get across something that's still great to this day. Suicide. As it is dark, just like depression and anxiety, suicide is a birth child of both of those feelings. And if you know anybody that's going through it, please call the National Suicide Hotline and get help. It is really important. Your life is worth more than you know. We've lost several great people to suicide, such as Robin Williams, Chester Bennington, and Jason David Frank. So please, if you know someone that's hurting, even just listening to them, help them in any way that you can. So, thank you guys for watching. Next time is YouTube subscriber poll time, and you guys will get to pick which comic, which thing that I review next. So, I'll see you guys next time with the highest poll vote for the YouTube subscriber poll, as this will be the last one of the year because I got a lot of things to work on before Lazy Wayne and the Christmas theme review start. So, next time, YouTube subscriber poll. I'll see you then.